Chapter 2. A Grain of Sand. By the time Emily returned home, night had fully descended. She nuzzled the door open, and warm light spilled across the living room, dispelling the chill that had settled on her. Familiar sounds drifted from the kitchen, accompanied by the same caring tone she'd always known. "Emily, you're home. Max has already had dinner, and now he's in the living room drawing." Her husband, Henry Warren Carter, stood at the kitchen door, holding a towel and drying his hands, clearly having just finished washing the dishes. Emily walked over, embraced him briefly, then lifted her head to kiss him on the cheek, murmuring, "Thank you, darling." Henry nodded, gently massaging her shoulders with a concerned look. "You look exhausted. Go take a warm bath and relax." Looking at him, warmth filled Emily's heart. In this busy world, Henry's support was her strongest anchor. She carefully removed her coat and hung it on the rack, then made her way to the living room. Max was sitting on the sofa, holding a piece of paper and several colored pencils, absorbed in his drawing, lost in his own little world. He slightly furrowed his small face, as though contemplating how to perfect his work. Emily paused at the doorway, quietly watching him, and in that moment, all her fatigue and worries seemed to melt away. "Mom's home?" Max suddenly looked up, his eyes sparkling with excitement. Emily smiled and, crouching down, gently caressed his cheek as she walked over to him. "How was your day? Did anything fun happen at school?" Max grabbed her hand eagerly, unable to wait to share everything with her. "I heard a lot about aliens today. Mom, did aliens really come today?" Emily was momentarily stunned, looking down into her son's curious eyes. She whispered, "Yes, Max. They talked about extraterrestrial civilizations at the press conference today. Come, let me tell you a story." "Dad!" Max immediately shouted, excited that his mom was going to tell a story. "Come over, Mom's going to tell a story." Henry handed her a water cup, walked over, sat down beside Max, and playfully put his arm around his shoulders. "Oh, I have to hear this." Max blinked up at his dad and asked, "Dad, are aliens our friends?" That's a tough question," Henry replied. "Maybe they'll be our friends, maybe they'll be bad guys, who knows?" He looked at Emily with a playful glance. "I think we'd better ask Mom. She's the expert on this." Emily pulled Max into her arms. "Max, what do you think? The universe is so big, there might be friends out there, but there could also be a completely different life. Don't you remember how you drew the galaxy before? Show it to Dad and me." Max eagerly picked up his drawing and held it up for them to see. It was his imagined version of the galaxy, colorful and full of whimsy. Henry and Emily both exclaimed, "Wow, Max, you're such an artist." Max snuggled into Emily's embrace and whispered, "Mom, are aliens scary? Will they come and kill us?" Emily kissed his forehead, not directly answering the question, but gently guiding his attention elsewhere. "Max, do you remember the picture book we read about the galaxy? Do you think the universe is enormous?" Max nodded. "Yes, we all live on Earth." "Exactly," Emily said, pointing to Max's drawing. "Earth is like a tiny ball, floating in the universe's vastness. Besides Earth, there's Mars, Jupiter, the Moon, the Sun. They're all part of our universe." Max lowered his head, brooding. "Do other planets have humans on them?" Emily smiled and nodded, trying to explain in a more straightforward way to help him grasp the vastness of the universe. "Max, look, this is our galaxy. Earth is like a tiny grain of sand floating in it. Do you think there are a lot of Earths in the entire galaxy?" As she spoke, she picked up a pen and drew a small dot on his paper. Max looked up at her curiously. I don't know. There are too many grains of sand on the beach to count." "Exactly, just like the sand on the beach. There are countless planets in the universe. Who knows? Maybe there's another Earth out there." Max suddenly furrowed his brows and looked up at Emily, his eyes filled with confusion and concern. "Mom, why are so many people saying we're going to die? What does it mean to die?" At hearing this, Emily's heart sank slightly. She squeezed his little hand, speaking gently and patiently. "Max, everyone will die someday, but just because someone dies doesn't mean they're gone. For example, when I go to work, do I still appear in your mind?" "You do," Max answered firmly, as if it were the most natural thing. Emily smiled softly and continued, "That means I'm still alive in your memory, even if I'm not around. Our memories never disappear, as long as our minds continue to exist. She tried to explain death in a way her 5-year-old son could understand, all while silently praying that her words would soothe his unease. Max seemed to grasp something, his eyes gleaming with curiosity. "Mom, how can the mind always exist? I still think about Grandpa. Grandpa and Grandma won't die, will they?" Emily gently caressed his cheek. "Yes, Max. As long as our memories live on, they'll never fade away." "And how does the mind live on?" Max pressed on. "We can put memories into a robot's body. As long as the robot stays powered, it can keep going." Emily finished, pinching Max's chubby cheek affectionately. Max nodded thoughtfully. "Then, is a robot a person?" "If we put our mind into a robot's brain, then that robot becomes like us," Emily said with a gentle smile. "So, do you think we're human?" "Of course we are, Mom," Max said confidently. "Mom, I want to keep you and Dad, Grandpa and Grandma, and all the grandparents in my mind forever." Emily's heart tightened. She kissed his forehead softly and held him close. "Don't worry, my darling." Henry leaned in close to her ear, teasing. "First time I've realized how good you are at dodging questions." Emily shook her head in mild exasperation, whispering, "His questions are too hard to answer. I'm just buying time for now."